Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Happy Saturday to all of you, and thank you to those of you that joined in on yesterday's live stream. We had some new people in there, so thank you very much for joining in. We had a great time, as we always do. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I want to talk of about 10 things, 10 common sense things that you can start doing right now, if you're not doing it already, to get ready for what will be the next era of a Great Depression. We are entering into an era that is going to be equal to, if not worse, than the last Great Depression that we had here in this country, in the United States of America. However, I feel that it's going to be worldwide. You can do your homework as far as that. I've done plenty of videos explaining why we will be entering into an era of Great Depression, and we need to prepare for those things now. Now, these are just common sense things that you can do, but stick to the end, because I'm going to have a list of sustenance items that you can go out there and get right now and be prepared for 1 year as far as sustenance. Nope, it's not a classy list. It's not an expensive list. However, it will keep you alive, so stay tuned for that. But the first one is stop paying interest on credit cards, ladies and gentlemen. Do not live off of your credit cards. Do everything that you can not to live off of your credit cards. And if you do, because you like to collect the points, I have no problem with that. I do the same thing. Make sure that you pay it off every single month before the bill is due, before it starts to accrue interest. Why? Because whenever you're paying interest, you're giving away your money and not getting anything in return. So you're paying everything that you purchased, and on top of that, you're paying more. It makes no sense. Get out of debt as fast as you possibly can. Don't tell yourself, I can't do it. Instead, tell yourself or ask yourself, how can I do it? There is always a way, right? If we go into a Great Depression, those people that have debt are going to lose those things that they owe money on. That's just the way it is. The bank is going to want its stuff. It's not fair. It really isn't. When you go to a bank and you borrow money, they create that money out of thin air. And then after you've paid on whatever it is that you've paid on, either a house or a car or a motorboat or whatever it is, after you've paid on it for 5 years and then you fall behind 2 or 3 payments, they take it all back. I know it's not fair, but that's the game, ladies and gentlemen. So try to get out of debt as best as you can and as quickly as you can. Those that have no debt going into this next Great Depression are going to be much better off than those that do. And even better, those that have no debt and have a little bit of dry powder to the side, a little of extra money to the side that they were able to save up. Why? Because they're debt free. They'll be able to use that money and capitalize off of it, off of all of the things that are going to be going on sale during this next Great Depression. Another thing is know the difference between what you want and what you need. It's a big difference between the things that you need and the things that you want. Try to cut out as many wants as you possibly can and concentrate on those things that you need and need alone. That way you can concentrate on paying off debt. Start recycling things instead of throwing them away. Start fixing things or finding a friend or someone that knows how to fix that thing instead of throwing it away. I see a lot of videos, well, I've watched a lot of videos in the past of like countries like Afghanistan or Pakistan, where you show these little shops that are like really deep third world country shops, right? That they have dirt floors and everything, of men repurposing, let's say for example, alternators. They'll take an alternator that doesn't work, they'll take it apart, they'll rewire it, they'll put it back together, and there you go, it works again. I'm sure that they're able to do that at a much cheaper price than what it would cost to get one that's brand new. Here in the Western world, we live in a throwaway culture. So if something's broken, just throw it away, go get a new one. Guilty, right? Guilty. Not putting myself above anyone else. I've done it in the past. All right, so learn how to fix things before you throw them away. Recycle things if you can. If you don't know how to fix something, get on YouTube and find out how to fix it. You'll find it. I mean, YouTube has pretty much anything that you want to fix. You can get on YouTube and you'll find it. Ladies and gentlemen, before we go on, I want to talk to all of you, but really to Alaskans. I'm very excited for Alaskans. I talked about this during yesterday's live stream, but for Alaskans, I'm very excited because OUPES, and this video is not sponsored, but right now OUPES is running a sale. And number one, they now ship to Alaska, which is a great thing. I believe they charge like a $50 shipping fee to ship to Alaska, but in my opinion, that's a great deal. But I asked my representative at OUPES to give me a code so that you all can save some money off of the OUPES 2400. This guy right here, if I'm pointing at it, you can save, what is it, 10% off that price if you use AP10. I'll leave a link to the video that I did reviewing that up here so you can check it out. It's an awesome solar generator, and they're giving 10% off only until Sunday. So that sale only goes through Sunday. But they're also giving $200 off if you purchase an OUPES 1200 with one or more 100-watt solar panels, which in my opinion is a good deal as well. And if you are not interested in any of those two, you can still save 15% off anything else at the store if you want to purchase. But these are the two best deals that are going on right now, and they're only going on till midnight of this Sunday, or till 11:59 p.m. of this Sunday. Instead of going out this year and trying to keep up with the Jones on Christmas gifts, why don't you just go ahead and give the gift of time, or do something that you made yourself as far as a Christmas gift? It's really not about the gift, ladies and gentlemen. It's about your time. A child does not cherish a fancy gift more than he or she cherishes the time of their parents and their siblings. Make being frugal a game, right? Especially if you have young kids. It's so much easier to save money and to pay off debt when you have young kids that really don't care about stuff as much. You know, those that play with a box instead of playing with a toy that came in the box for a week or two after Christmas, until that box is all crushed out and no longer any good, right? So make frugality a game, and try to challenge each other within your own household on how can we save money on anything, right? Like, for example, turn off the lights, save on energy. Find ways that you can save on your groceries. For example, if you like beans, instead of buying 4 cans of beans, buy yourself 1 pound of dry beans. And if you have a pressure canner with jars, 1 pound of dry beans equals about 4 or a little more than 4 cans that you buy at the supermarket. That right there is a savings of about, I would say, 300%. So you can spend about $1 on a pound of dry beans, or you can spend about $4 or so on 4 cans of dry beans. So try to find things like that you can save money on. Bake your own bread. Not only is it a lot tastier, but it's so cheap to make your own bread, and it's so easy to do. Even if you don't want to bake it, you can even make bread on top of a griddle. Look it up on YouTube. All of this stuff is on YouTube. I treat myself and my wife once a week. Sometimes we miss a week by going out to lunch once a week on a lunch date. But stop eating out if you're not debt free. Stop eating out if you don't have a full pantry. Because like I said, time is running short. This is going to happen. We will have some kind of a collapse or a scenario in which the purchasing power of your money, of your labor, is going to diminish by a whole lot, therefore bringing down your standard of living. I would say that about 10 times out of 100, I'll go get my coffee at the coffee shack. I call it the coffee shack. I always forget the actual name. And the reason I do that is because I want to support the community. But in all reality, the coffee that I drink at home, my Nutrient Survival, is about 1/3 the price of what I pay for it if I go out and get it in the community. So I have my Nutrient Survival coffee here every single day, and maybe once every 10 days or so, once every week and a half, I'll visit the local coffee shack and I'll buy coffee from there, of course, to support the community. But if you can't do that, don't do that. Make your coffees at home. Make your smoothies at home. You already know this without me having to tell you that it's a lot cheaper at home than what it is if you go out there and buy it. Same thing with restaurants. Stop eating out. Make your food at home. And it seems like the food that you get nowadays and the service is diminishing in quality because of the problems that they have with hiring people and all that kind of stuff. We've noticed the same thing over the last 6 months or so. A big one is discontinue all of your subscriptions that you don't need. For example, Audible, right? I have an Audible subscription, but I use it all the time, and my wife uses it all the time. But if you're not out of debt, ladies and gentlemen, get those things out of your life that you do not need. Remember, a need and a want, all right? Your phone data plan. If you have one of those $450 a month phone data plans, get what you need, not what you want. If you need that data plan because of your job or something like that, by all means, you need it in order to make a living, right? But if you don't need it, especially most people don't use the whole thing every month. If you don't need it, bring it down some. Get a more affordable phone plan, because people may not think about it, but nowadays, it's easy for like a family of 3 or 4 to have a phone plan amongst them that's $300-400 a month. And remember 10-15 years ago when you can buy a brand new car on credit for $300-400 a month? It's a little more than that now, but remember that. So if you think about it that way, you're kind of like paying for a car just with all of these data plans that you have for your phone. So get the bare necessities of what you need. If you need data, by all means, get the data that you need, but don't overdo it and only use what you need to use. Consolidate your shopping trips and try to make your shopping trips with a friend. That way you can either both just use one car and consolidate your shopping trips to maybe once every 2 weeks or once when you get paid, or if you have to be in town anyways, that's going to save on gasoline. Make a list when you go shopping. Go shopping with a plan, saying I need A, B, C, and D. I'm going to go get A, B, C, and D. And it's very important, in my opinion, to have a little bit of dry powder to the side. What's dry powder? I call dry powder what is like extra money that you've saved up. So let's say, for example, that you keep $100 of dry powder, right? And I always keep it somewhere on me, either in my wallet or in my vehicle or wherever. It's not intended to be used except for one thing. And that is if I go shopping and I find something that is an irresistible sale. So if I go shopping for A, B, C, and D, but I see that corn is on sale for 25 cents a can, I'm like, whoa, that's like 1/3 of what we normally pay for it today. I'm going to go get that $100 and I'm going to go get a year's supply of corn, depending on what it is. We probably go through about 2 to 4 cans a month here. So a year's supply of corn would be about 48 cans or so, right? Give or take. So if I have that dry powder to the side and I go shopping, and even though I didn't go shopping for corn, but they have it on such a great sale price, I'm going to go get a little bit of the dry powder and stock up on that as much as I can. That way I'm getting it on sale, right? Because we all know that next year's sales are going to be this year's regular price. And this year's sales are last year's regular price, meaning that it's not going to get any cheaper. I did a payday prep here not too long ago, I don't know, maybe a month ago or so, where I went into Fred Meyer's to get some ham, I think I was looking for. Oh, I forgot, maybe some vegetables that my daughter needed for her pasta salad. But they had that Jiffy cornbread mix on sale for 99 cents for 6 of the little boxes. Absolutely nothing wrong with them. So I got me a few cases of that. I mean, how can you go wrong? You know, they were on sale for about 90% off, roughly, something like that. So yeah, that's what I mean by dry powder. Always keep a little bit to the side just in case. If you get a surprise when you go into a shop or a supermarket, something's on super sale, take advantage of that. Let's see. I have a 2-liter bottle of water. So I have a 2-liter bottle of soda that's full with water, and I put a little bit of chlorine in it so that it wouldn't get moldy in there or anything like that, because I never intend on using the water inside that bottle. I take that bottle of water. Now, this may not work with every toilet, but it does work with mine. I take that 2-liter bottle of water, which is roughly about half a gallon, right? And I put it in a corner of inside of my toilet's reservoir. Well, my toilet is rated to flush at 1.25 gallons of water per flush. So about 1.25 gallons per flush. Putting that half gallon in there saves me a half gallon of water every single time that I flush, because it displaces the water that's in there, and that water is never used. And the toilet works just fine doing it that way. Now, like I said, it may depend on what kind of a toilet you have, but I do know that for mine, it works great. And that's a big deal out here in Alaska, or in most places in Alaska, where you have to haul your own water, which I do. Ladies and gentlemen, the last one that I'm going to cover is, instead of seeking outside stimulation, like going to a virtual reality club to fight the zombies with virtual reality, instead of going to the trampoline parks, instead of going to Disney World, etc., 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 spend time at home with your family, play board games, watch movies. My wife and I, we watched a movie yesterday that she went and got from a Redbox, and it was $2. And she actually bought it. You know, you can buy movies from a Redbox after they've used them so many times. And she bought a movie for $2. And it was actually a really good movie. So that's $2, all right? And then we ate dinner while we were watching the movie. And I would say I'd rather do that in my own home with my family there, instead of me being in a crowded theater, you know, in the dark, wondering when the next crazy guy is going to come in, right? At least that's what I think about when I'm sitting in a theater in the dark, because of things that have happened in the past, but I digress. I.e., spend time at home with your family, Do things that don't cost anything for you to be entertained and your family to be entertained. Trust me again when I say that children and family, what they want most is time. Right? What they want most with you is time. It's really not things. Now let's go ahead and go over a list of sustenance that you can go out there and get right now. Right now you can go out there and get this stuff and put under your bed. You can put it under your bed and forget about it. All right. And then if you ever need it, it's going to be there for you. A lot of these things we package up and put away for long term, like using Mylar bags and things like that. But in reality, I believe that, like, for example, a bag of rice, you put it under your bed and the original container is going to last a very long time, in my opinion. All right. Because I've done it before for several years and there's been absolutely nothing wrong with it. I'm actually working on an experiment right now with a bag of rice. And I think that the 3-year mark is coming up here in November, I think it is. And we're going to go ahead and open that bag of rice up and see what it looks like. But anyways, I digress. Now, if you go by the average that a lot of people go by, 2,000 calories a day, right? It's probably going to sustain you. 2,000 calories a day will sustain you. But when I say 2,000 calories a day, I don't mean that everyone in the family will be eating 2,000 calories a day, because everyone may not need 2,000 calories a day. I've watched some movies from, like, movies that were like made from the 1800s, early 1900s and things like that. And then you have your farmer and they come in for dinner and all of the kids sit at the table. And the wife sits at one end, the husband sits on the other end, and the father, I've noticed this, the father always eats first. Over the years, I just got used to seeing that, and then I remember someone commenting once while I was watching it at home. I think it was my wife. She was like, "We always feed our kids first." She's like, you know, and even at home, like whenever I invite people over for a meal, I always eat last. Whenever I make a meal at home for my family, I always eat last. It's just how I am. You know, being a soldier and all, and being a non-commissioned officer with soldiers under you, you're always taught, and you always make sure that you take care of your people first, and you always go last. So that's how I've often done it. But if you look at those movies from the past, the man always eats first. Why is that? Well, I figured it out. I was telling my wife, I think it was my wife that commented on this. She was like, well, why is the guy is always eating first? And I'm like, I don't know, that's, you know, but then I thought about it. That guy back then, he was out plowing fields for 16 hours. And without him plowing those fields, they're not going to eat. That was his duty. That was his job. So he needed more calories than the kids. He needed more calories than the wife. Not saying that the wife, all right, because I know this may trigger some people. Not saying that the wife did not do just as much work, but the work that he did was a lot more physical, and he used up a lot more calories. So when I talk about like 2,000 calories a day, let's say you have a household where you have a wife, a husband, 2 children. Let's say one of them is 13 years old and one of them is 2 years old, and you have your grandma, right, living with you, right? So 2,000 calories a day for 5 people. That's 10,000 calories a day that you need. But does that mean that 2-year-old is going to eat 2,000 calories a day? No. That little 2-year-old is not going to eat 2,000 calories a day. The 13-year-old will probably eat like 3,000 calories a day or more, depending on how physical he or she got during the day, helping with chores and stuff like that. The mom is inside taking care of the kids. She's probably going to need her 2,000 calories a day. The grandma, she's probably too elderly to do too much, so maybe she does a little bit of housework. She does the cooking, etc., etc. Things that don't use up that much energy. She probably won't need that 2,000 calories a day. She'll probably need less. And then let's say that the father, customarily speaking, was the one that was out there plowing the field, you know, taking care of the cattle, etc., etc. Maybe he would need a little more than 2,000 a day, 3,000 a day. So it kind of averages out between who needs more than 2,000 a day and who needs less than 3,000 a day. I hope that makes sense. Pretty much everyone in the family does not have the exact same amount of energy depletion throughout the day. So using 2,000 calories a day kind of like averages itself out on for those that don't need the 2,000 and those that may need some more. So I try to come up with a list of items that you can get right now, fairly inexpensive, more expensive than it was this time last year, but still fairly inexpensive, that you can get right now, that adds up to about 750,000 calories, and that you can put away for a good long time without having to worry about it. So if you just want to go out there and be prepared for yourself and not have to worry about rotating stuff because you just want to live by the day and all that stuff, and you just want to have SHTF insurance that's not fancy. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. 100 pounds of rice. All right, you go get 2 50-pound bags of rice. If you get the long grain rice, I think you can still get, not up here in Alaska, but down in the lower 48, I still think you can get 2 50-pound bags of rice for less than $50. So let's say $50. Go ahead and get 50 pounds of whatever legumes you want. Black beans, pinto beans, a combination, but roughly about $50 for a 50 pounds. Last time I went to Costco, I think pinto beans were $23 for 25 pounds. So around that average. So about $50 for 50 pounds of legumes. Right? 100 pounds of pasta. Pasta is very calorically dense. About $75, let's say. All right, I know that you can find them on sale for like 50 cents a pound, but you can also find them for probably on average 74 cents per pound. So $75 for 100 pounds of pasta. 100 pounds of flour, about $75. 3 gallons of oil, whatever oil you want to make it. I don't care. Some people are going to say, don't get that canola oil. Don't get whatever oil you use. Go get 3 gallons of it or so, and that's going to be probably about $50 or so, depending on where you go and what kind of oil you need. Now, all of these things that I just mentioned, this basic stuff that I just mentioned, the rice, 168,000 calories. The legumes, 80,000 calories. The pasta, 160,000 calories. The flour, 160,000 calories. 3 gallons of oil, 93,000 calories, for a total of 661 calories, and for a total of, let's see, $300. 661,000 calories, $300. Now, what about the other 90,000 calories to equal up to the 750? All right, so you go ahead and take another couple of $100, and then you fill in whatever canned meats you want to get that have a long shelf life. You throw in some salt, you throw in some pepper, you throw in some spices that you like that are cultural to you, things that you grew up with. You throw in some comfort foods. For $200, ladies and gentlemen, you can get a lot of that stuff, right? And there you go, ladies and gentlemen, $500. You have about a 1-year supply of sustenance, depending on your activity level, for one person for about $500. That is why you need to be preparing right now. One of the most important things that you can do, in addition to getting food, get as many seeds as you can of things that you eat and that grow well where you live. That way you can plop them on the ground and get food from the ground, which could supplement what you've already stored away for hard times. That's all I got for this video, ladies and gentlemen. I really hope that this helps, and please put in the comments what other things can you do to prepare for the storm that is coming. We are headed there. There's no stopping it. We can be scared of it and be paralyzed and not do anything, or we can be alert that it's going to happen and prepare now. That way when the blow hits, it won't hurt as much, because even people that are well prepared are going to have a hard time through this next crisis, ladies and gentlemen. Right? I am so sure of this. But then again, timing is everything. And would you rather be prepared 10 years ahead of time instead of waiting till one day after the storm when you can no longer prepare? So start preparing now and hope that you never need it. Hope that you can rotate this food and you never need it. But be prepared just in case. Having said that, again, take a look at the links for the OUPES sale that's going on until tomorrow night, 11:59 p.m. Sunday evening. I think it's a great sale. It's the first time that I've been given any kind of a discount code for specifically the 2400. All right, that's a great discount code, 10%. And if you live in Alaska, it definitely covers shipping to Alaska and then some. So hope to see you all tomorrow during our live stream. I'm not sure if I'll put up another video today or not, but other than that, we will see you tomorrow. Have a great day, ladies and gentlemen. God bless every one of you.